Hey, folks. Good evening. Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And we're a podcast about
how we game.
That's right, how we game. And that's what the show is all about. Just how we game, what we do, what we've been up to, what we've been playing. But even more, it's about what you've been playing, what you've been up to, what you've been acquiring, what you've been buying, because we want to hear from you. The caller.
Yeah, all about you.
Phone number is 813-618-7099 is the phone number for the show.
Have that phone line open?
The phone line is not open yet. I'm going to open it up now.
Momentarily.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll get this phone line
Hold,
open.
please. Hold, please.
Please hold. Please hold. We're going to open up the phone lines for you to jump in and talk to us about what you've been playing.
And then we've got some topics tonight just to fill some time in between phone calls. Hopefully the plentiful, the many phone calls. But we got some discussion about things we've been up to, things we've been playing recently. A couple of new game acquisitions.
Yes.
Got a few things you want to talk about, I know. So that should be exciting. One that I'm particularly interested in. So we'll dive into that in a little while. And then if we have time, we'll get to a little bit of news, just things we've been hearing around the industry, online, people talking about things.
Or hopefully y'all bring us some news too.
Yeah. Hopefully you got some things.
Phone line is open. 813-618-7099. Beans and Dice podcast. So let's jump into some of the topics that we have.
Okay. Well, I know you wrote a few things down, so let's knock those out.
First thing I wanted to talk about, I know Robert and I didn't get into detail on this. We haven't really talked about it much. How I started doing the Bites videos.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But I saw an opportunity, I thought, to take some of the video from the conversations that we're having about board games.
Right.
And turn them into shorter, smaller videos, kind of focused or concentrated on just that segment of the show.
Yeah.
So that folks have an opportunity to find us better, easier.
So when we do the show, we may talk about 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 different topics during the show. So, you had the idea, which is a great idea, just to kind of cut those into little 10, 15-minute chunks, throw those out there as separate things. So if somebody's not interested in sitting through the whole show, but they want to find out about something we talked about, they can jump in on the YouTubes and take a look for that. So that's cool.
Yeah, and I thought that was an interesting thing. Tell us your feedback, what your thoughts are.
Yep.
You'll notice today, also in the news, I'm not wearing my Beans and Dice shirt. I'm wearing my Freedom High School shirt because my oldest son graduated today.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
That is achievement unlocked.
You got your first one through, so mine hopefully next year. But yeah, this is your time, Christian.
1 down, 3 to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long road.
So, congratulations to Christian, and certainly looking forward to what he's going to do in the future. Hopefully some games on the side, but I know he's got
we got a call coming in. Let's take a peek here.
Absolutely.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Mitchell from Louisiana. What's up, guys?
Hey, Mitchell. How are you, friend?
How y'all doing tonight?
I'm well.
Doing all right, man. Tomorrow is my last day of work before summer break, so I'm pumped.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know both of our wives.
Both
of our wives are in the school system as well, and they ended. What was it, last week? So
yes.
We're a week ahead of you. But yeah, both of ours started their vacations, their long summers last week.
Very nice. I saw Carlos, your son, graduated today. I know you just said it, but I'd seen it on Facebook too. So
awesome.
I guess that officially means you're old now that you got one out of school, huh?
Oh, he's old. He keeps telling me he's younger than me, so he's not old. But that doesn't work that way. We can be old together. So
I'm old. It's official.
There you go.
Your summer vacation starts. I
feel
feel so much better starting mine. Like not me, but my wife.
Yeah.
It just frees up more time for evenings and things like that. What are you looking forward to getting done this summer?
A lot of board gaming, hopefully. Our board game shop just recently started hosting game nights again after the pandemic, and I haven't made it in the last few weeks just because it's hard on work nights. It's about a 30, 45-minute drive there, and then, got to get up early the next morning. So next week I'm definitely going to hit that up.
Yeah, that'll be great. I know we both talked about that as soon as the wives got done, and we both have several kids, so we said that'll be perfect. The wives can go back to hopefully helping out with the kids, and then we can get in some more board game nights. So that's big.
For sure. I always got to bring a random game to talk about. My friend taught me Papillon this week. Have you guys played that?
I have not. That's is that the butterfly one?
It's the butterfly one, yeah. It's a really simple game, really pretty components, and kind of a nice spin on The first part kind of feels like Carcassonne. You're trying to make these connections with the tiles, and there's 4 possible sides. And once you enclose a garden, meaning you finish it off, it attracts a butterfly. You can attach that butterfly to a plant, and then at the end of the game, there are points for whoever has the most on different plants, and then you get points for your biggest gardens. And there's also a bidding mechanic where the tiles that you're placing, you're drafting kind of. They're like in rows and columns, and some rows have more than the others, and so you pick an entire row or an entire column. But the columns that have less have like this little gnome on it that gives you these worm resources that you use to bid on turn order and bidding order. So it kind of feels like Carcassonne, but just with a little bit extra and definitely more beautiful components.
Yeah, I'm looking at here on the BGG, and yeah, I mean those flowers, the 3D components that are on the board. I mean, those look awesome.
I'm starting to see a trend with you, Mitchell.
Quickly,
a lot of the games that you bring to us tend to have 3D type components.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I like a little bit of, eye candy on the table for sure. Yeah. But it's got to have a good mechanics as well. I think I've said this before. I'd rather an ugly game with good mechanics over just aesthetics any day. But I like the ones that combine both of them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So that's my argument.
What's special about Papillon? Papillon?
What's special about it, I think, is the rules are super simple. You could teach it very, very quickly. I think it's accessible probably even for younger ages, maybe even more so than other games because of the theming. But there's still a ton of strategy you can have with it. Just because you're enclosing a garden doesn't mean it's going to give you points at the end of the game. You only get points for your 2 largest gardens. So, but remember, each time you close a garden, you get a butterfly. And so you have to balance, do I want this really big garden for a big boost of points at the end of the game, or do I want a lot of smaller gardens so that I can attract a lot of butterflies and try to get the most points on each of those flowers?
Okay, so definitely a puzzly kind of aspect to it. And the butterflies I'm seeing here again on the BGG pictures, is it magnetic, or do they just sit on the little flowers?
No, it's like a tiny, tiny little clothespin. I've never seen anything like it before. And my only critique is sometimes it's a little hard to clip just because it's so little. And sometimes you run out of space on those flowers if you're crowding to those flowers, because you don't get to pick where you're putting it. It's going to be the flower that matches the color of the garden that you enclosed.
Okay.
And so if you have a lot on there, they kind of blend in with the flower a little bit, and they're a little bit hard to count, but it's kind of worth it because it's very pretty at the end.
Yeah, the table preference, presence, it's definitely.
What about the fitting on the flowers? Is that part of the game? Like if you can't fit it there, it can't go there, or is that just a complication to the game?
Just a physical complication. Yeah. So you only have, I think it's 12 butterflies each, and so if you run out of butterflies whenever you complete a garden, you can choose to move one from another flower. That'll usually be later game, which is, so whether I'm beating someone by 10 butterflies or 1 butterfly on a flower, I'm still going to get the same amount of points. It's like first, second, third.
Right.
And so it kind of allows for a little bit of strategy toward the end there. And another thing I like about it is it adds a little bit to the replayability because the flowers sit, I think, they're called in pots. And so each pot has a different number of victory points. So one game, the yellow flower might be worth more, and the next game, the blue flower might be worth more, so it's not the exact same thing every single time.
And I'm really liking these games that are coming up with different themes, but strong game systems.
Mechanics, yeah.
Right, because I want to introduce games to other people who aren't into gaming as much, and it's so hard to do that with fantasy world or World War II or zombies, because that's just not their thing. Like the Wingspans or even the Mariposas or
Mariposas. I was gonna mention that.
Papillon.
Papillon.
Yeah, French.
Papillon.
French is not my first language.
French,
I think this is the same designer as Reavers of Midgard, if I remember correctly. So it's like 2 very different games. Which is, it's cool. They're showing some variability. I don't remember the guy's name. Is it JB Howell? I just looked it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. Yep.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing that one, Papillon. How many plays did you get?
I've only played it one time. I don't own the game. I was at a friend's house and he taught it to me, but I was considering buying it for myself, just another little short kind of filler game, between the heavy ones. So I'm thinking about getting that one.
Rob,
but
what's it selling for?
as always, my shelf is it's pretty cheap actually. I think I don't remember offhand, but it's not a ton.
$50 on the board game geek shop.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
Man, 10 years ago, if I heard my future self saying $50 is cheap for a board game, that'd be crazy. But
that's the going rate on a lot of good games right now. So yeah,
was that used or new that you saw it for 50?
It's hit that BGG shop there. What's that say?
Here.
No, it looks like it's new.
Looks like it's new for 50
on the Board Game Geek shop.
Okay, cool.
Yep,
that's not bad.
That ain't bad. Yep. Well, I just wanted to chime in and give my 2 cents for the week. I hope you guys get a lot of other calls.
Yeah, well, and I know
it's not just 2 cents. We're going to talk about some 3D components here.
Got to talk to you about a little game called After the Empire. So we couldn't let that slide by.
To my surprise, Mitchell had reached out earlier talking about taking a trip to Florida and how he wanted to come by and play some games with us. So he had asked for my address, and I'm like, yeah, here's where I live. Let me know when.
Real gin.
Just to give you an idea of where I'm located.
To be fair, I do still plan on doing that.
Yeah. Okay, well and then we're going to hold this maybe until you get here, and then we'll return it.
And yesterday, to my complete surprise, this week has been nuts. We've had family in town. My son's graduating. Like everything's crazy.
Yep.
The mail lady brings me a package, and I'm like, I do not remember. My wife's out front with me. We had just pulled in from like.
What did you buy?
Yeah. And I'm like, fun again? I don't remember buying anything from them. Mitchell sent us, Rob, a copy of After the Empire by Grey Fox Games.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's insane, brother. That
you didn't need to do that. But
and I know I'm not good at receiving.
No.
Like I got to get better at just saying thank you. Thank you, Mitchell, for sending this to us.
Welcome.
This is something I really, really want to play.
Oh yeah, we talked about tonight. After the show, we're gonna rip it open. Or we actually may, if we have time, we may do it during the show and do a little quick unboxing. But yeah, that's really cool.
When you get here, we got to get this to the table.
Yeah, I'm down for sure. Yeah, no, I know I told you this earlier whenever you messaged me on Facebook, Carlos. But just for the viewers out there, I don't know if you guys remember people watching. A few weeks ago, we were talking about how they were doing the reprint. And whenever I said I was going to want to get the upgraded one, the first thing you were like, oh, can I buy your old version? I'm like, sorry, I just got the upgrade pack that brought it from the retail to the Kickstarter version. Yeah. And I felt really bad. And then plus, I don't know, I just really appreciate what you guys do. I wanted to show my support. So I appreciate you guys. So thank you guys.
Yeah, brother, we appreciate you sending this to us. We are going to get it played. It is going to be a review on the show. We'll talk about it and give you our thoughts.
Yeah, and before I forget, definitely throw in a plug here for your new show. We've definitely both been watching your new
episode 2.
Well, right. Well, I guess there's been 4 episodes, but 2 of them, have been based on each. It was the battle and the result. Right. Exactly. So tell us a little bit about what's coming and let people know where they can check that out.
Well, whenever I get hung up on a game, I really get hung up on it. And the next battle has After the Empire versus Everdell as best worker placement. After the Empire is definitely the one I'm arguing for. If the viewers don't know what it is, it's a new YouTube board gaming channel I've started called Board Game Battles, where each week we pick a specific genre of game. And I pick one champion, a friend of mine picks a different champion, and we kind of duke it out, debate it out. We throw a little bit of shade, but for the most part, we don't want to bash games because, we're accepting. And then over the course of next week, we have the viewers comment and ultimately vote in a ballot, and they choose who the winner is that we'll announce the following week. So far, I am 2 for 2, even though, and I was saying this earlier to my friend, both of the games that I've defended had a lower ranking on BGG.
Oh, really?
But they still came out on top. So I was worried about that. BGG's got some power out there, but both of mine came out on top so far, and I promise I'm not rigging it.
Is it one word, board game?
No, it's 3 different words. Board Game Battles. It's still a new channel. Battles, plural. Yeah, it's still a new channel, so sometimes it won't come up if you put that in. You may have to put in my name, Mitchell Prudhomme, afterwards, and then it'll be the first result.
That's what we were trying to pull it up here real quick, just to show it on the sites. We're trying to pull it up here real quick.
Yep, we found you.
There we are.
Yeah, it's a little shield, with the dice.
Got it.
Board game, 2 words, battles, plural.
Battles, yeah.
And that's going to get you the first video was the one I really enjoyed the most. I guess because both games are games that I played and have high emotions on.
Oh, yeah.
The second video are games that I really haven't played other than Photosynthesis, which is another good game. That's a good solid game.
I own that one, yeah.
So I feel like I guess I didn't feel as I could speak to that battle as much because I hadn't played both.
Yeah, I haven't not played Island of El Dorado.
Yeah, so that's a balance we're trying to find. Like, we don't want it to be a show where you have to have played the game to feel like you have to have your 2 cents. And so we're trying to explain the rules without being peachy. You know, we're not a how to play, but enough of the gist of it for people to understand it while we're explaining our perspectives. But I definitely feel that so far the first video got a lot more buzz because it's a lot more bigger name games. And so we're going to, I don't want to only highlight big name games. Oh, that's my video. I hear it playing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
but yeah, we're trying to find that balance.
Mute that real quick. Yep. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And I've enjoyed watching both of them. I commented on the first one. I feel bad I didn't get in on the vote on the second one, but I'm waiting for your third episode to come out so I can get my vote in on that one.
There you go, folks. That's Mitchell with Board Game Battles on YouTube calling in. Thank you again, Mitchell, for the copy of After the Empire. I keep wanting to say Age of Empires. After the Empire.
Yep.
And I hope to see you this summer.
Yeah, it's a good video game.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do. Well, thank you guys for the shout out for the channel as well. And you guys have a good night. I'll be watching.
Thanks for calling. Don't be a stranger.
Sure thing. I won't be. You know I won't be.
I appreciate you, brother. Bye. Good night. Yeah. Dan says he's got a copy of Papillon at the cafe.
Oh, cool. Okay, I didn't realize you had that one there. Yeah.
All right, phone line is open again, 813-618-7099. I know I could talk to Mitchell all day.
We got.
We've had him on the show all day before. He co-hosted with us once.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
Yep.
But brother, tell me that isn't cool. Getting a copy of After the Empire.
Oh yeah, that's our
as
first,
much as I wanted to play it.
Other than the Stegmeyer gift or gifts that we've received from Stonemeyer Games, this is the first time we've had a viewer.
Oh, we got a call coming in.
So that's really awesome.
Beans and Nice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Dan. How are you doing today?
Hey, Dan.
Zephyrhills, Florida.
That's my man, Dan, the man from Zephyrhills,
Checking
Florida.
in.
Proprietor of Your Turn, a board game cafe in Zephyrhills, Florida.
Yep.
Thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it.
Always, yeah. What have you been up to, Dan?
Is your brain unmelted? Did you scoop it into a bowl and pour it back into your brain?
No, I tried to make it worse. I was on Board Game Geek today looking at all the forums and going over things to make sure I was doing them right. So it hasn't gone away yet.
Yeah, just to fill everybody in, Dan taught quite heroically, taught this weekend to me and 3 other players a game that is extremely high on the complexity meter on Board Game Geek. We learned High Frontier. It's the 4th version. I think it's called 4 All, the number 4, to kind of denote that it was the 4th version of the game. But I'll pull it up here on the BGG. But incredible job. I have to tip my cap to you taking on that beast. I know you said you played a solo a couple of times. That game runs 6 to 8 to maybe 8+ hours, and you played it. You soloed it took one for the team and learned it, and then taught it to a group of I think it was 4 others of us, and we played that thing for it had to be 8+ hours this last Saturday.
Yeah, it was around 8 to 9 hours for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Rob explained a little bit of it before the show. We really didn't get into deep detail, but Dan, tell me about the experience in teaching it and getting it played to a bunch of people that hadn't even touched the rulebook before. How did High Frontier 4 All go?
Well, as far as teaching it, definitely was nice to get that 50 pages of rule books out of my head and be able to talk about it instead of just trying to have it swim around in my head the whole time. So that was nice.
Absolutely. I was telling Carlos, I think there's a couple of rule books in there. There's a quick start, and I don't know if you call it a quick start, but the main rule book, 50 pages. That's nuts.
Yeah, it was pretty deep. It was about 2 months ago. I was in the group and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna learn this, and it's gonna probably take me a month or two," and it did. But I really, really like the game. Yeah, there it is. I see you pulling it up. I mean, it's a little delayed from what I'm watching.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I'm just going to scroll through here as you're talking about it. But yep.
Yeah, it's a really, really good game. I mean, I even like playing it solo because it's just. I mean, there is player interaction in the base game, but if you add on the modules like it adds combat and other things, you'll have more interaction with each other. But if we would have had all 5 of us there for the entire time, there would have been a lot more because then sites start being taken up or busted, and you can't go as many places, but we'll have to schedule it for a future time.
Oh yeah, sure.
Again.
Yeah, we'll have to set aside a whole Saturday or Sunday or sometime where we can just all get together and play. And actually, I said it was we played Saturday. That's wrong. We played on Monday. We played on Memorial Day. Your shop was closed for the. You're normally closed on Mondays, but you made that available to us to come out and play. So again, we really appreciate that. I know you had the mat, which has the nice hand stitch edges on it, and the mat I guess is about twice the size as the normal playboard.
It covers a whole. Okay, so we see
tables.
it's probably a 6x3 if I'm right, or more.
It's pretty big, yeah.
A 6x3 may be about right, yeah.
But then it's got
Yeah, I had
all
to
these
get,
intersecting lines of all the different orbits that are options. It looks like a physics book. Like,
Yeah, it's very intimidating to look at, and the rule book is big, so it's very intimidating. But once you understand the game, those lines kind of disappear in a way because they're really not as complicated as it looks when you don't know the rules.
Right. I would agree. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a game that's going to take a few playthroughs, and I mean, it's a long game to be able to say that about, that it's going to take a couple of playthroughs to get real comfortable with it. But I mentioned to Carlos what I was kind of telling him just quickly here for 5 minutes before the show about the game, that it took me probably literally about 3 hours just to even launch anything off the planet Earth and get it out into space. And he's like, oh, okay, so that kind of solidified for you that you never want to play that game again. And I was like, well, no. I said that first 3 hours was tedious, and that thought went through my head for a little while there. And I told him I had to call you over at one point, and I was like, Dan, what am I doing wrong here? What do I need to just get something off the planet? And you kind of came over and you graciously took a look and kind of gave me some advice on what we needed to do, since you'd soloed it a few times. But once you get off of the planet Earth and get out into space, the game really opens up and it becomes a lot of fun. And so I mentioned to Carlos that 3 hours investment just to get my rockets built and to get some stuff into space, that next 5 hours was really kind of made it worth it. And I'm definitely looking forward to playing again. I mean, we're going to, like I said, need to set aside a whole day to do it and find a group, hopefully maybe the group that played last time, just since we all know what we're doing, we can jump into it and get to the meat of the game a little faster. But it was a good time. I really enjoyed it.
I had the same experience when I was learning the game. The first couple of times I played it solo or multi-handed, like two players against each other, I didn't make it through the entire game because I had the same issue with I could not find a way to launch a ship, or if I did, it didn't go very far. I ran out of fuel. You really do need to mess up a few times. And then once you understand the way ships should be constructed, it's much easier. You only need a couple of parts, and I kept trying to stack together these big, 8-part ships when I was first starting out.
But before you get too deep into that, help the callers out, because I asked Rob, "What are you doing here?" And then he just gave me a bunch of mechanics.
I started rambling about 20 minutes
mechanics, drafting, and collecting
ships.
So,
give me a little more theme. What are we doing here?
So the game, of course, takes place in space. It's our solar system. And your job is to exploit the resources around the solar system. There's 6 types of resources in the game that you're trying to fly out and stake claims, say that area is yours. And then once you do that, you can bring equipment and build a factory and actually gather those resources to turn some of the technology you have into advanced technology, which will allow you to progress in the game further. So you're mining space.
Right.
You're getting resources from space, that's the plan, like mining asteroids and whatnot.
Correct.
So I could be like Bruce Willis, like a miner, a driller
Deep
on
impact.
an asteroid.
Yeah, well, they have comets and stuff and asteroids in there. So I guess you could be just right, Bruce Willis.
Right.
Sweet.
And the designer, Phil Eklund, I mean, he's some kind of rocket engineer or whatever, and we talked about that a little bit. But I mean, the game is so correct that there are asteroids that are on the board that are obviously they're static, they don't move, they're printed onto the board, but there's certain color codes on like the asteroids, and they're only available to land on or to mine during certain phases of the game, because those asteroids move through our solar system, and there's only certain times where they're within reach, and then they go out to the far reaches of the solar system before they slingshot around a planet or slingshot around the sun and come back to us. And so I mean it's extremely technical, and I'm not smart enough to know, but it appears that it's all been scientifically tested. It's all up to date. All of these intersecting lines have to do with physics and space movement and all that kind of stuff. And it's
There's a lot of theme in this game, Robert.
incredible.
Like it's oozing with theme.
It is themey, yeah. But there's cubes. There's cubes. You build little factories, and the factories are cubes, and so that keeps me going.
Dan, as someone who's taught the game, for those folks that I'm sure when I put this out as a Bites video on just this topic, I'm sure folks who want to play this and teach this are going to be thinking this, but tell them what they should do different next time they teach a new set of players how to play this game.
Well, the approach I took was you have to start with the basics. And I mean, it sounds simple, but the rule book's so big, and so there's a lot of basics. But the player aids that come with it tell you what your actions can be, or what they call operations in the game. And if you go over how to do each one of those, and then you can kind of stack the other actions on in a logical manner. The rule book is very well written. It'll take you through the game, the core rule book, in the way that you should be taught the game. It takes it into account the steps in the right way, because if you just try to start throwing rules out there, you're going to completely turn the players against you, because there's so much information. If it's not structured to where this builds on this, then they're going to get lost really fast.
Yeah, and I mentioned to Carlos that we took a lunch break in the middle of our dinner break, actually, in the middle of the teach. You provided some pizza for us, which was awesome. But I told him that we got about 20 or 30 minutes into the teach, and then we took about a 20-minute break to grab a bite, and then you finished off the teach. And I'd say that that whole time was probably between an hour and a half, just to teach the game and get us going. So yeah, I mean, again, Herculean task. Yeah, definitely appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Yeah, it's a really well-made game. If you like a game that's like an experience, I mean, you are playing, of course, for victory points and trying to beat the other players, but it's really about what you do, except for the interactions with the auction. Yeah. So it's more of a simulation experience than it is just a straight-up, board game where you're just playing against each other.
That really interests me, right? As long as the game is. And I'm not opposed to long games. I've done many, many long games. My favorite game is a very long game.
Yeah.
But it's that simulation experience that I really enjoyed, and I think that's what makes like Terraforming Mars so high on my list. Is that it gives me a theme that I've always enjoyed the sciences. I've always enjoyed learning about the sciences, and anything that can teach me a little bit about the sciences of that really interests me. So I only missed your event because I had family in town for my son's graduation. Outside of that, I would have so been there. Robert is telling me that Dice Tower Retreat, we're talking about pulling like an all-nighter or something. I would rather do it like a breakfast thing. Cool. Like I would rather see it as a breakfast thing. My brain works better in the morning on a pot of coffee.
Yeah, maybe 6 a.m., a little high frontier.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'll be bringing it with me because that's the time and the place to play it. If you set up early in the morning, we could probably get through the whole game then for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, early morning breakfast, some coffee, kind of get us through to lunch, and then on to other games. I appreciate that. Dan, any events going on at the shop that you want to throw out there? Shout out for the group. Let them know what's going on at the cafe.
Sure. I mean, we're actually closed this Saturday because we have two different groups that booked us out for the entire day of Saturday.
Some private events, nice.
We got another one next Friday, and the following Saturday, the 12th, we have the Blood Bowl tournament that's going to be here, which we already have.
Carlos is in on that.
I'll be
24 competitors.
I'll be there.
Not me.
And I contacted the organizer, and we talked back and forth, and we figure we can get about 15 tables. So I opened it up to go up to 30. So he's probably sure he's going to get them. So
I saw him post on our Florida Blood Bowl group that you did allow for additional players, and he's opened it up to more players. So I'm excited about getting out there for some more Blood Bowl. It's probably one of the better venues that we've had Blood Bowl at.
And we're already working on our expansion next door. We got it painted. I got the electrician coming in tomorrow. So we might be only weeks to a month away from having that space available as an overflow area.
Nice.
That's good. That's great to hear.
Looking forward to that. You're effectively doubling the size of the shop. Is that right?
Almost doubling. The unit next door is 6 feet less in width, but the length and everything's the same. So yeah, about
Nice.
250 square feet less. But I mean, the one that we're in now is 1,600 just on the floor space where the gaming can be played. So it's still big.
Oh, yeah. And you spread those 2,000-ish games out over those two spaces. You're going to pick up a little extra wall space there, too, so that'll be nice, yeah?
Oh no, they're staying in here.
They're going to stay in the main.
We're actually getting more shelves.
Oh.
We're going to move all the free stuff to the other side and put some more regular shelves in over here because we are running out of room already.
Fill them, yeah. How dare I? Yeah.
What's the count on the number of board games there now at the cafe?
1,503 now.
Dan's got a counter on the wall. He's got a number of games and then how many days since the last acquisition. So,
and that's usually 0.
He's got that hanging on the wall. So that's nice. First thing you see when you come in. Yep.
David Carlton on the chat says he wants to see some 8x4 war game tables in the expansion area.
He mentioned that. Yeah.
He's welcome to rent out some space and bring some.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm bringing my table.
Yeah.
Dan, thanks so much for sharing and calling on Frontier. We will see you soon for the Blood Bowl tournament and more gaming at the cafe.
I appreciate it.
Located in Zephyr Hills, Florida. It's called Your Turn, a board game cafe and ice cream shop.
Yeah, they got ice cream, food. They have beer. That's all kinds of good stuff.
So, thanks for calling in, Dan. Have a good night, man.
Have a good night.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Thanks,
you.
Dave.
Bye. Man, I love that cafe.
Oh yeah. It's quickly turned into my my top 2 favorite places to go. There's a couple here, but we've got some real good game shops where we're blessed in the Tampa area now to have nice places to go. And the only reason I lean a little towards Your Turn is because it's about 15 minutes from my house. So I know it's
we're like Armada's 15 minutes from my
you,
house,
so,
which is why I lean that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, location. But yeah, they're both great places to game and both places we go to regularly. So that's awesome. But and I just was looking. I don't know. I failed to mention. I pulled up Twilight Imperium here because I know that's one of your favorites. Just the complexity, the weight rating, 4.23 on Twilight Imperium. Just to give you an idea, High Frontier is 4.79,
79,
almost a 4.8 out of a 5-point scale. So it gives you an idea of if you want to try that High Frontier, know what you're getting into. It is a rewarding experience, but it is going to be if it's your first time, and nobody's played it before, you're going to be looking at a couple hour on the learn and the teach.
We got a call coming in. Let's take a peek.
Sweet.
Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Dave from Riverview.
Hey, Dave. We were just talking about you.
Guys.
Speaking of renovations, man, I've been seeing a lot of pictures of are you getting a game room in the house? Is that what's going on?
I don't know about that.
No, it's more of just we got rid of all the carpet in the house and put tile everywhere downstairs, stuff we wanted to do for a long time. So,
okay, well, sans the game room. Let's talk about games. What have you been up to?
Exactly, yeah. No, so not a lot of playing this last week because of family in town and stuff that aren't gamers. But over the last few days, we've got a couple games in over at Nerdy Needs, one of the new shops in
I've
Tampa.
seen some photos.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good-sized game store. Board game selection is pretty varied. They keep a decent amount of stock, stuff that I don't see on the shelves at other places too. But they have a wide variety. They have stuff for a lot of role-playing game stuff. They have BattleTech stuff. They're a magic shop too. I think they do a lot of card reselling. And a good portion of their business is comics and Funko. So they have like lots of geeky stuff, not just gaming. So
okay,
but they've got a good sized space of about maybe 10 or 12 tables in the back, and they're cool if you bring your own stuff. You buy one of their games, pop it open. It seemed pretty decent atmosphere. We gamed a good bit on not this past Saturday, but the one before. A bunch of us from the Brandon group met up there and got a few games in. And then I met up with one of my other gaming buddies, Gary, to play Twilight Imperium on the following Tuesday.
Oh, so Twilight Imperium. There you go.
I'm sorry, not Twilight Imperium. Dune Imperium. My mistake.
Oh, Dune Imperium. Oh,
Dune Imperium.
Even better.
Dune Imperium.
Now you're talking my
I
language.
just bought that one when it got reprinted, when it got restocked anyway. So
how you liking that?
It was a 2-player game. I liked it a lot. It was a 2-player, so we had to use the auto AI.
Yep.
fill the extra spaces. So I'd love to play it 3 or 4 players, but I really like it. I mean, I like good strategy type games, and it's one of those worker placement, resource management where you never feel like you have enough to do what you want to do. It's a bit brain burning.
It's very tight. That's what when I teach that game and I explain it to everybody. That's one of the first things I mention is the resources in it are tight, and you're constantly. I'd say about halfway through your first game, you're thinking, man, if I just had one more of those, if I just had one more water or one more Solari, I'd be able to do this great combination. I'd be able to do exactly what I want to do. But it seems like you're always just one short, and so for me that's a mark of a good game. You got to plan ahead a little bit. You gotta know what you want to do. It's really a good game. I'm loving it. I know we've had a bit of a discussion about between that.
Now we've got a lot of views on our conversation about it.
Yeah,
over the last week, like 57 views.
Yeah,
people seem to want to talk about Dune Imperium. That's a great game.
Yeah, it's a hot game, and I'll tell you,
what did you think, David?
I really liked it, and I tell you, I grew up in the '80s, and I watched Dune when it came out, and I thought it was terrible.
I had to watch it
when I was a kid.
I didn't tell you I watched it last week. It was horrible.
I rewatched it for the source material because everyone's like, "Oh, you'll like the game more if you understand the factions," and I kind of do. I understand that this faction was the religious faction, and that faction was the warrior faction, and this is the guys are trying to seize the power, and these are the guys that are in power. So I understand the source material better after watching it. I can't wait to see the modern translation of it with probably a better cast. Not that everyone in the movie was bad. I think there were some good performances in it, but putting it over with the cast that's coming in for the new Dune movie, I think it's going to raise the bar a bit. I never read the books. I heard the books are great.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with the remake. I mean, I also had seen the original. It's been a long time. I have not gone back and watched it in, probably 20-something years. But so it's been a long time since I've seen it. But yeah, I'm real curious to see what they do with the remake. And I just wanted to also pepper in. I know you mentioned that you played it with 2. I played it with 2. I played it with 3, and I've played it with 4 quite a bit. 4 definitely is a longer game. I don't know that I've played it with 4 in much under 3 hours. But if you're willing to do the 3 hours, I think that's definitely where the game sings. There's not a whole lot of scaling. If you play with 2, like you mentioned, there is some blocking of some spaces just artificially. But with 3, it's still a little open because you take that away, you add a third player. But with 4, it becomes pretty tight because the number of spaces is consistent between 3 and 4 players, and it's just more decisions, and it becomes even a tighter game at 4. I enjoy it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, and I felt the same way. Like the little AI deck that sends agents to random spaces. One or 2 turns created a problem for either me or Gary, my opponent. Right. But other than that, it was just mostly throwing extra troops into the combat.
I love the combat mechanism. You go in at the wrong time, really and it just changes everything.
Yeah, and it's always there. At the end of every round, you're going to have a combat. You don't always have to be involved, but it's something you have to think about every turn of the game. Do I want to be in this combat? Are the rewards what I want them to be? Is it worth going in? And because everybody that you put into combat just gets wiped every turn, whether you win or you lose. And so you make an investment, and that's always kind of there in the back of your mind. All 10 rounds of the game, you're always thinking about that combat that's going to come up at the end. So.
Nah, man, thanks.
Yeah, and late rounds, most of those are worth victory points.
Yep, exactly.
Dune is a good one. That's a good game to get out there. Well, you talked about Nerdy Needs. That's that new shop.
Yeah, Nerdy Needs.
Where is it?
The brand. It's over on Causeway Boulevard near Kings Avenue. For those that know Tampa.
So it's Brandon.
Not familiar with the area. Brandon. Yeah, and if anyone knows where O'Brien's pub is in Brandon, it's in the same plaza. It's just on the other end.
Okay.
So that's a staple in local music. So, but other than that, been really working on some terrain and stuff for that game Stargrave we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I read through the whole rule book. I'm completely done with the rule book. I've watched some playthroughs of Stargrave. Really reminds me of Frostgrave, but in space.
Oh yeah. It's a complete reskin. It's like here's Frostgrave in space.
But now I'm thinking about what am I going to use as my team? Like, do I go Star Wars style? Do I go, like World War II mechanized? Because you can do whatever you want as you bring your own
Right.
minis, Robert.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it one of those where you kind of bring your own, like you can do in Blood Bowl?
Mini agnostic is
Yeah.
what they call it.
Okay.
Yeah, mini agnostic. Really, the only thing that matters is the base size, and even then, as long as you're consistent, you could make it whatever. You could bring your Warhammer 40K stuff. I'm planning on using some of the extra minis that probably won't make it to the table. The Zombicide Invader, the sci-fi themed one that came out a couple of years
Yep,
ago.
yep.
There's a lot of great sci-fi characters from Fifth Element and Judge Dredd and all that stuff thrown in there.
Cool.
And it's designed
I've got
for
the
what, a
Infinity minis
3
that
by
I painted up
3?
that I haven't played.
Yeah, Infinity. That one will burn.
3
your
by
brain.
3s are recommended. I've seen people say they play it on a 2 by 2, which is just really tight, and that's just like instant murder, So you don't waste any time shooting people. But it to me it seems a lot like Kill Team, Small Skirmish. You're only going to bring 10 models to the table. Most of them won't survive the match. The really the important ones are your captain and your first mate. Those are if anyone's familiar with Frostgrave, that's your sorcerer and your apprentice, your wizard and your apprentice.
Everybody else is expendable.
The difference is that the captain and the first mate can have different backgrounds. So you can have someone that's like a Star Warsy character that does Force and a light blade, and you can have like a Master Chief guy from Halo that's got better armor and better shooting, and his abilities motivate other troops and do other things. You can, and every round you can cast powers with your they call them abilities or powers. It's like what's taking place with spells. You can help yourself or help others on your team, or cast smoke, or energy field, or whatever. There's lots of
Yeah, you can
stuff
destroy their
do.
weapons with like psychic energy.
Right.
All right, so I'm putting
Take
the
control
monkey
if they
on
have
your
robots.
back. I'm putting the monkey on your back. Armada's open now. They have war game tables.
Yeah.
It's between you and me. So now I need you to set a date, weeknight or weekend, where you and I will meet up and run through our first match of Stargrave.
Yeah, that works. We can do it in about 2 weeks, because I know you got the Blood Bowl thing we're talking about, and I'm out of town next week. But
You
2
monkeys
weeks
on
from
your back.
Saturday.
You tell me what date that is,
Yeah.
and we'll meet up for a game of Stargrave, and we'll post it on the Instagrams.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been dying to play it too. I've got a couple lists going, and been reading the book and watching all the playthroughs like you were saying. So, absolutely.
All right, David. Thanks for calling in and sharing, man. I appreciate it.
Have a
Thanks,
good day.
guys.
Good night.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
All right, that was Dave. David Carlton. Phone line is open again, 813-618-7099. I love it when I'm talking about what other people are
Yeah, I was
playing.
gonna say, I'm loving this. People calling in, keeping
and
the show
I
moving. Yeah.
can't get to my topics,
To your list.
which is perfect, because I want to talk about what you've been playing, because everything they've been talking about is stuff I like.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So phone line's open, 813-618-7099. Beans and Ice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Daniel the Paladin.
And this is Alex the Rogue.
We are Christian Adventure Gamer.
Hey, Daniel and Alex, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am well. I'm so glad I got to meet them in person.
Oh yeah. Well.
Both Daniel and Alex here in Tampa when they were on vacation visiting. I think it was Busch Gardens.
Excellent.
Locally, we met up at Armada Games and spent some time together. So talk to us. Tell us what you got going on.
Not a whole lot. Life schedule's been kind of crazy, working at Aldi, so watching the kids a lot. But we were able to do a live playthrough of Valor and Villainy Minions of Mordak last night.
Wow. Okay.
Live playthrough and it's the Christian Adventure Gamer is the name of the channel, folks. Find it on YouTube. And Rob's pulling it up now for the screen. Valor and Villainy. It's a 2 to 6 player. Wow, it's a long one. This is like a deep campaign game. Looks like
90 to 150 minutes. Wow.
Yeah. It says it's supposed to be like 25 minutes per player, but it's more like 45 minutes per player.
That's what it sounds like.
They're
Yeah.
a little hopeful on their time per player. But yeah.
What's your review on it?
I like it. I just wish that they would have accurately displayed the time that it takes to play the game.
Oh yeah, that's a bummer.
The rule book is probably my least favorite of the game. There's some things that they could have expanded on better, like the procession of horrors, like how that actually breaks down. I had to go onto BGG and like ask lots of questions to really learn how to play the game.
Oh, that's
Even
tough.
last night in my playthrough, you'll see me flipping through the rule book just to make sure I understand how things are working.
Did you find there was good information on BGG? Was a lot of people posting on it?
Yeah, how's the community support?
Yeah. That's excellent. I have not yet encountered any negativity when asking a question. No, like, you're stupid, what you asking this? I always get, polite answers. They understand a lot of the same questions are being asked. So that tells me that then there is a flaw in that game, and people recognize it.
That's tough because it looks gorgeous.
That is rough. Yeah, we're looking at some of the models and things. It looks pretty.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous game. I like it. I think it's really good. I'm going to give a actual full review, so I don't want to say too much.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil the
spoil the review.
The review.
Yeah. But
do the models come painted? Everything we're seeing is painted.
No, they don't come painted, but I'm working to paint some of mine.
Okay.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
Not too long. Yeah.
I think that it's a pretty good game. Again, there's just a lot of things in the rulebook that aren't necessarily answered as you're playing through the game. So it's a lot of you're just trying to piece what you can together to make the game work.
That's a bummer.
I don't know if I have the temperament for that anymore. Like, I guess I used to back when there weren't a lot of game options, but now I feel like there's so much experience and history and knowledge in the board game design world that shouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You think that like the rulebook's actually quite large, but like the last 4 or 5 pages are just artwork of different regions in the world of this game.
All right, well, we look forward to your full review where we'll get how you really feel on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is going on in Indiana?
It's getting ready to be summer, so things are starting to get warm here. I've been tending the garden.
That's good.
Second year with the garden. This year we got some fresh topsoil, so hopefully it turns out better than last year. It was horrible last year, like everything died.
Wow. Well, we've had a bit of an early warm up here in Florida. We've been in the 90s just about every day. So yeah.
Oh yeah, like the day we went to Busch Gardens, it was like 95 degrees. Like I was dying.
I felt bad. They look burnt to a crisp.
Oh wow, well,
I felt bad.
That happens to all the visitors if you don't live here. It took me being here 3 or 4 years till I really got used to it. But yeah, it's a different atmosphere in here, I guess you'd call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your gaming community going with the change in the seasons and all the stuff opening up? What's your gaming community look like up in Indiana?
So like right now with everyone graduating, things are a little bit slower.
Sure.
But once we get through like the graduation parties, things like that, there'll be a lot more. Like there's the church that we go to, they are good about gathering together and just playing games.
Cool.
And so I thought about asking the pastor if like I could borrow the church for like a Saturday for my birthday, just to have like a all day game day.
There you go.
Hey, the worst you can say is no. Make it happen.
Right. Yeah, he plays games too, so there's a likelihood that maybe he'll say yes.
There you go.
Oh, keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
It's great to hear from you. It's great to hear from Alex.
You too.
I think it's Alex's first time calling in. Am I right?
No.
Oh, she's been on before, yeah?
Has she? We've been doing this a little while.
There's one other time.
Which time was that? I'm trying to remember, Alex. When was that?
I think it was early on. It was
by herself. Because it wasn't
That's right, yeah.
a call together. It wasn't a joint call. It was you by yourself. I recall.
No, it was a joint call.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
There you go. Too old.
Well, call back next week, please. Help us out. This is awesome. Like we've had like 4 or 5 phone calls today. This
Already,
is great.
yeah, that's awesome.
So, please keep it going. Don't forget us next week. We'll be here. Tell us more about what you're playing. Okay.
All right. We did pick up this new Splendor game, the Marvel Splendor.
Oh.
Have you played it yet?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I picked it up, and I don't have my copy anymore, so I'll leave it at that. What did you think?
It plays very similar to the original Splendor, except for you have to gain so many things in order to start the end of the game.
Yes,
right.
To trigger the end game.
Yep.
Yeah, instead of actually having the points to win, you have to trigger the end game and then possibly win.
So what did you think about that?
I really like the artwork.
There you go. Okay. That's
I changed the subject.
we weren't particularly fans either.
I don't have my copy anymore.
Yeah.
I gave it away to someone who loved Marvel.
Got rid of it pretty quick.
I guess we'll wait for your full review on that one. So it sounds like we're on the same page.
Yep.
I think if I'm going to play a Splendor game, it's probably going to be original Splendor.
Yeah, I agree. That's where I'm at.
That's probably where we're going to end up.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it sounds like we're going to head the same way.
I think the Marvel Splendor could be a really good gateway game, just because there are a lot of Marvel fans.
The IP, yeah.
And Splendor itself is a very simplistic game,
Sure.
abstract game.
Yeah. Just but doing that and then making it, I don't know, for me it kind of drug. It made it longer, made it a little more difficult, a little more complex. It just wasn't what I was looking for in Splendor. Splendor, I want it to be light and quick and in a good time. You know, if you want to play it a couple times, you can knock it out a couple times in a night, no problem. But there was something about that wasn't as enjoyable.
Kind of like how I felt about Marvel Villainous.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And people won't even take that off my hands.
You've tried to give it to my son, and he wouldn't take it home.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
great hearing
that
from
game
you.
Yeah.
Great topics, Daniel, Alex. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks for calling. Don't be strangers.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Have a good night, y'all.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
All right, that opens up the phone line again, 813-618-7099. I'm really enjoying
Yeah, so this is very cool. The calls just keep coming. We want to talk about what you want to talk about, and it's great because we can just jump between different topics. So you see something.
Mitchell, there's your next topic.
Oh,
there's your next topic, brother. You're going to have to talk Villainous versus Marvel Villainous. Because my brother, you're wrong.
Oh, that one was bad. We've played that a couple of times, and like you said, second time we introduced it to my 17-year-old son, and he
loved it.
Well, no. What he said is that he felt the game was broken, and he wanted to take the game, and he said he was going to fix the game, but then when we went to leave, he just left it here, so he didn't even take it. I don't know if he forgot or whatever, but he said he wanted to try to fix the game because he loved the IP, he loved the idea, but I just saw in the chat there. He
send the game back.
Send the game back.
Our relationship is over.
But he wanted to try to fix it. He said, but he never got around to it. So we'll see. Maybe he'll try to
see. And this is where Mitchell, when it comes to Marvel Villainous, it just felt complex for complex sake.
Right. They just added more just to make it longer and make it more complex.
And Villainous already had a little bit of a streak of going longer than you wanted it to go.
I agree.
Like it was already on that edge of saying, and we played it. Well, geez, we played it 6 players.
Oh, we played a lot.
What was it? Escape WinterCon. We played it
Escape
6
Winter.
players. All of us did.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a 4-hour game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we played it. 3-4 hours, I'd say. Yeah.
And Villainous feels like it just took it over that line of like where Marvel Villainous, where I couldn't accept how long it would go.
And we couldn't trigger the end. We were trying to figure out, 2-3 hours into it. It's like, how is this game ever going to end? It's just, we just kept piling on each other and we kept dragging the game out. I don't even think we finished the second time we played it. I think we just decided to quit after a couple hours. We were like, we're going nowhere. Nobody's close to winning. We're just going to pack this thing up. That's when my son said, yeah, this game, there's something broken about it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to figure it out. And then, like I say, he just left it on the table.
Maybe it's how we read the rules. Maybe
we're doing something wrong. I don't know. Maybe we'll look at it again. But yeah, you still own it, so it's there if we need to jump back in.
Yep, that was Marvel Splendor. That was Daniel and Alex out of Indiana. Check out their channel, folks. They got the Christian Adventure Gamers. Him and his daughter do some real cool stuff there. They play a lot of adventure games, like campaign-style games, and they play through them. They paint them. She, I think, is 15, so you get kind of a different perspective on gaming.
And I'm just trying to pull up.
There they are, right there.
The
Christian Adventure Gamers. Yep.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Looks like that's last night's playthrough. He said it was the box said 30 minutes per player, and it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of video there.
Yeah, that seems like that ran a little wrong. I saw on the BGG it said 90 to 100 and 120 minutes or something, or 150 minutes. So yeah, I mean that shows right there. Just 2 players is 90, so that's about.
Mitchell
45.
says maybe I'm not good at games. Mitchell, I know I'm not good at games.
No, well, we both know that.
I don't win. That is not my thing.
That's not the goal here.
I don't win.
Yeah.
Let's see. Phone line's still open, 813-618-7099. If y'all want to wrap, whoever wants to call in and wrap the show up for us, Other than that, we'll go through some of the stuff we have. Schottentotten. I don't even know how to pronounce this or say this.
Change camera. There you go.
There we go. Schottentotten. It's a card game by Aiello. So it's a small card game.
You're kind of late to the party on this one. I know you mentioned it, and you're like, "Oh, it's a game," and I was like, "Oh no, I mean, I've never played it, but I constantly hear people talking about Schottentotten."
So here's what surprises me about Schottentotten. Battle Line. I've always wanted Battle Line. Battle Line is a game by GMT, and it's a battling game where you lay locations across the board. And you're going to battle by placing cards on each location, 9 of them, trying to gain 5 of those locations or 3 adjacent to trigger the end of the game and win it, right? And you're going to play cards to build formations in runs or straights or flushes, like poker hands almost. And I've never been able to get a hold of that game. It was just hard to get a hold of that game. It was always out of print. Finally, they came out with the reprint. Well, see, a long story. Carl's going around in circles. They came out with the reprint in the medieval version.
Yeah, here it is. Yep.
Which is the version Robert and I played. So I finally got my copy of Battle Line, and I loved it. Robert, this is Battle Line.
That's Battle Line. That's what I've heard.
This is it.
Yep.
It's Battle Line. This is Battle Line with cartoony art.
Is it any simpler? I mean, Battle Line's not complex, but
it's same. Like, had I known this, I would have bought this so much sooner.
Yeah.
This is it's got kind of like a Scottish theme to it, so but it's very animated. Is that even a word?
Animated?
There's okay, I'll just show you on the screen, folks. It's got pictures. They're like very cartoony.
Cartoony,
Here's a guy with bagpipes and a kilt.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
humorous,
cutesy, humorous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy throwing a log. Actually, I'm sorry. He's a lady throwing a log in like the strength games that you see, the Strongest Man games.
Yeah, the caber toss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this is Battle Line. It's exactly the same thing.
Well, I know how to play it then.
Flat out.
Yeah, we played Battle Line.
The tactic deck is different.
Yeah.
So the tactic deck is actually I think I like the tactics deck in this game better than I like the tactics deck in Battle Line because it's more streamlined, more simple. So you're not spending time having to read a card to figure out how does it play.
Yeah. Schottentotten, I know this is a game you can pick up just about anywhere. I've seen it, I think, in Walmart. I know I've seen it at Barnes & Noble. It's Yellow Games, so it's out there. But, I mean, this one's, it's not, let me just see. I'll pull up the BGG just to see. I know it's been out for a while, and I want to say there's been a reprint or two of
There's a C in there.
Oh, a CH.
It's a Schottentotten.
There we go. I'll get there. Schottentotten says 99.
1999.
2020. So, the original says was 2012, it looks like.
Well, we got a call coming in. Let's take a look here. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name, where you're calling from.
Hey, it's Michael from Ramada.
Hey, Michael.
Michael, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty freaking fantastic.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear.
Sorry for a little late call. I was actually driving and trying to find a place to actually pull the line.
Oh, you're good. Yeah,
I'm call you guys out.
Well, we're still on the air, so we're good.
Thank you for the phone call, man. Today's been an awesome day of phone calls.
We've been back-to-back calls almost the whole show. So
we've only been able to insert one of our topics all day. I love it.
That's perfect.
I love it.
Oh no, you had to talk to other people and couldn't get your own work done.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's like at all.
Yeah, all day for you behind the counter, right? Yeah.
Well, I know you got some topics for us, but I want to know because if you don't know, Michael Fortino is one of the owners, and he runs the shop Armada in Temple Terrace, Florida. It's a local board game shop.
Yep.
Who recently opened their doors back to gaming.
Yep.
So, Michael, how has the last 2 weeks been?
We've actually had quite a bit more people than we thought we would, being this early.
Awesome.
But it's been pretty fantastic. Like today we had 40K players, bolt action, and then just a ton of Magic players. Monday we had 4 tables of board gamers throughout the day.
Wow.
So it's been pretty fantastic.
Great. That's great news for the shop.
Yep. I even got a couple games on, and I got to play a couple games.
Oh,
at the store?
That's
rare. Yeah.
At the store. Played.
Right. Give us your games played.
Umbra Via.
Via.
I'm wanting to play that one.
Pass Tally and Control, all 3 by Pandasaurus.
Okay.
There's some new games in our library, so I was happy to actually get them checked out. And I'll tell you what, Pass Tally was good. It is a pretty good like abstract strategy for either 2 or 3 players.
Was that your favorite of the 3?
On the table again. Yeah, of the 3 right now, on a single playthrough of each, Pass Tally is
How do you spell that?
top of the 3. Passtally.
Okay, that's why I had left out an S. So I was trying to find it there, but there we go. Pastelli, got it.
Yep.
The 2018 game.
Yep,
It's got a 6.7 rating, a weight of about a 210, 2.1.
So yeah, it's kind of a lighter weight game. Is that right?
It's a little bit of a lighter abstract strategy. The rule book is 4 pages.
Okay, there you go. That's not a bad thing.
I love me some 4-page rule books. But yeah, that's the.
And this one,
sweet. Like,
this one hit the best for you?
Like 2 or 3 points. So this is on a single playthrough. Because, you know, ratings will change. But I do, like, abstract strategy games are one of the things that I always look for. And because they're just like, when you have such straightforward and simple rules, you can oftentimes put a lot of gameplay, like a lot of strategy into the game.
Okay.
So it's kind of like playing a game of Splendor, which you talked about earlier. It's like you take 4 people who've never played Splendor and set them down to play a game. The game of Splendor is going to be very different with those same 4 people after they've played 15 games.
Yep.
So that's why I'm kind of keying on those kind of games.
This looks like a puzzly. I mean, it's very, very different looking and very.
I'm getting some vibes here. I'm going to ask you to explain the game real quick, but I'm getting some vibes of Suro, right? So like kind of like connecting routes. Then I'm getting some vibes from Railroad Inc., which has to do with like connecting networks from the perimeter of the board. What are you doing in Pastelli?
Okay, so each player has a different color, and you have the 4 tiles that are on the edge of the board, and you're trying to make lines go between any 2 of your colors.
I see.
Using the different tiles, you're redirecting lines and stuff either towards your guys or away from your opponents, and then you want that line to pass through as many of those tiles that you place down. So and as you place more of them, you can start placing tiles on top of other ones. So you end up with like a 3-stack will be 3 passes and will get you more points than a single one.
Oh, so it's not just the top one that matters. The tiles underneath are going to give you points as well.
The number of tiles underneath, but covered tiles don't affect the board.
Right. So yeah, it's a number of tiles that you pass through to get from one to the other. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So sometimes you might want to extend that route, go a little longer, so you can pick up some bonus points.
But I think you said you also get bonus points on how tall the stack is that your line goes over.
Yeah. When you count the number of tiles that the line goes through, but if it goes through an elevation 3 tile, that counts for 3 passes.
Okay, there you go.
And
so it's like
you add up all those passes to get your points.
It's 3-dimensional. You're looking at the top C, down C's, and the left C, right C's, and all that.
Sure,
it's technical terms.
Yeah, if that's how you explain it. Yeah.
Yep.
What'd you think of Umbrella? That's one that I've seen a couple of playthroughs, and I'm really looking forward to playing that.
I want to play it again just to make sure that I didn't mess any of the rules up.
Okay.
It's a lot more interactive than many of the other style bidding games, like what is it, Isle of Skye and Revolution.
Sure, yeah.
Where you just you place your bids and then that's it. The double round of biddings on Umbrella makes it really interesting because you can load up tiles that you don't even want,
right?
But you gain benefit from other people interacting with them. Plus, everybody gets 3 of the little flower pieces to do their bidding with, but you have tiles that are worth 1 and tiles that are worth 2 on your bids.
Right.
But if you only assign the 2-point flowers to your bids, those go away before the tiles are placed. So you have to be very careful on how you use the 2-point bids, because you could end up placing a tile that you have no stake in the actual path if you do it all with the 2 points.
Right, and the whole area control that you're trying to make these routes, and sometimes you can just block off a route so that the route scores, because when the route is blocked off at both ends, you score it, and then you pull all those tiles off, and it will completely change the way the board is laid out, so that as you start placing new tiles, there's a whole new pattern to everything, and then there's a couple of special tiles that have some special rules that when they come out and they go onto the board, they do some special things, and so this one really looks interesting to me. I like the area control. I like the variability of what the different tiles can do, and the way you can, like I say, you can intentionally end a route even if you're not winning that one, just to kind of get it out of the way so that you can start building another route that maybe you can get some more points on. So,
maybe we should try to get on the table in 12.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a theme of the 3 games you played here: Umbravia, Pastali, and Control. But it sounds like Pastali was your top pick here. Was this a purposeful thing to try to get these more abstract area control kind of building games in?
Abstract strategies are games that I like. Most abstract strategies I end up liking, but these 3 is because they're 3 of the newest games in our game library. We just brought them in from we've had them on the shelves for a year or 2 years, or basically since they came out, or like in the case of Umbravia, 6 weeks. But they're now in the library, so playing games in the library helps me be able to talk about them to people. So,
one of the viewers on the chat is asking if you've played Gorinto.
I have not.
Okay, because it looks like it's also an abstract tile lane stacking game in 3D manners, almost like Control or Pastali.
Okay.
And let's hit Control before we let you go. Let's hit them all 3. So what did you think of Control? I saw a playthrough of this also, and this one didn't strike me as being my kind of game, but what did you think about that one?
So it's very light, but it's also, how do I put it, very FYB.
Okay.
That's the same term that I use to describe like Munchkin, like mess with your buddy.
Okay.
Is what that means.
That's kind of what I got the feeling of.
Yeah, it is much more competitive than I thought it would be, but it does it's another one of the a 3-dimensional spatial awareness style games,
right?
Kind of like Planet. So it does strike that itch a little bit, and the game took only 10 minutes for 4 of us to play through, and Aaron and I were only separated by 2 points.
Okay.
Who won?
There's room for I did.
Of course.
There is room for exploration. There's actual strategies on it, but it's. I'm pretty sure it belongs very nicely in between larger longer games as a cool down, which a brain reset style game.
Okay, so just pretty quick. Like you say, kind of a palate cleanser, kind of a little quick filler, break up maybe some heavier games that you're playing.
Yep.
Okay. I
want to try Pastali.
Try Pastali? Okay.
Well, I really feel
you play Pastali. We'll play Umbravia. We'll.
But tell me I'm wrong. Did you not see the Railroad Ink feel of the connection of the networks?
Yeah, I'm a little afraid, even though again it doesn't look like it. It kind of gives me, for some reason, it gives me the feeling of Calico, and I don't know if that could be completely unfounded.
I liked Calico.
I didn't like Calico. That was not my kind of game. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the colors and the tiles made you think of Calico. But I like that networking of the route building. Is that what I call that? Route building? Like the lines connecting
route
together?
Connection, yeah,
right.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like train games. I like connections.
Yeah.
Okay, Pastali, that's on my list to come join you.
All right. Yeah, we'll play both of them over at Armada.
Before we shoot off there, Michael, for the evening, any events at Armada you want to share with the groups at home? I think we've had 35 viewers tonight. I mean, that's amazing.
Sweet.
Any events
Glad
tonight?
To see the growth going on, guys.
Thank you.
No, our calendar is still completely empty. We're just open from noon to 9. We're doing a slow rollout on it to make sure that everybody's good, because I don't want to start putting out events and stuff and have some group come up that's cool to come play and other groups that are not.
Sure.
And by the time the groups that are not ready to play right now are ready, the players who have been coming up stop, because they don't have enough people to play against. So I want to make sure that everything is going to be copacetic once we're good to go. So it's probably going to be a little bit while longer, but we're at least closer now than we were a month ago. So
Cool.
Well, okay, so now it's my turn. Thank you for calling and spending time with us about your stuff. But I have a question. I'm like real Magic curious.
Oh, is that a thing? Magic
Like
curious?
lately, I've been like, okay, so I met a gamer at your turn. I believe his name was Ryan. Am I right?
Ryan. Yep. That's
Ryan.
it. Yep. Uh-huh.
And he talked to me about, it was his first time out at one of our events, the Carlito group events. And he talked to me about wanting to get back into board gaming because of his time playing Magic. And he talked to me about Magic Commander. And I saw you post recently about Commander Nights. And I keep hearing about how
You hit a nerve there. You hit a nerve. Yeah.
I keep hearing like how Commander is the nice way to enter Magic, like the lighter format.
What can you tell us about Commander?
Tell me about
that is both accurate and wildly inaccurate.
Okay. There you go.
So it can be very nice. Most of our group, our Commander players, play casual multiplayer Commander. We do have some players that play competitive, like sit down and turn 2, the game is over.
Oh, no, see, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Mostly those players, when they play those decks, though, keep to their own group that play that same style. I can easily introduce you to Commander and how to get started with it. It is not as expensive as it could be, and it's basically deck upgrades can be done over time. So it's not like, hey, you need to spend $2,000. It's like, no, it's like, you have $10. We can do something with your deck.
That's the draw for us.
And then just build it up from however you want to start.
Like, I'd like to see Robert and I have 2 good competitive decks against each other.
Sure.
So that we can play it like as a 2-player game, like a balanced 2-player game, so we can enjoy the Magic feeling.
I've never touched Magic, so I've never ever played.
Well, let's dirty his hands. We got to change that, Michael.
Well, you two got to come up to the store because this is definitely an in-person exploration.
Okay, it's a thing.
Speaking of coming up to the store, June 12th is our Carlito group game day.
Yep.
And I won't be there, and I feel bad about it because we've got a Blood Bowl
He's gonna be at a
tournament.
Blood Bowl event. So
There's a Blood Bowl
but
tournament
I'll be there.
in Zephyr Hills.
I'll be there hosting,
and I'm committed to it.
Yeah.
But Robert is taking the reins of board game night. I will be driving over there to Armada to say hi after the board game tournament. It's a sevens tournament, so it's light. It's a fast one. But after the sevens tournament, I'm going to come visit. But Robert's going to run the event. So
I plan to be there all day.
June 12th at Armada Games. And I think I messed up the first time I created the event. What time do you open? Noon. I think I said like 11. Okay. Noon is when we're going to get started. June 12th, Saturday, June 12th. Robert will be there all day running board games. So maybe that day we can figure out what to buy to get us into Magic.
Yep, it's good with you. I'm planning to be there open to close, and I know the last event we did last month, we had 20 people show up.
20 adults.
20 adults
and
show
like
up.
10 kids.
And some kids show up. So, as long as y'all are open and ready for business, we'll be there. And actually, I'm going to be there this coming Saturday. Not sure if Carlos is going to be up. I'm
going to visit.
There. Oh, he's going to come by as well. Okay.
Our buddy Chester, his wife's out of town.
Yep. There's going to be a smaller group of us, probably just 5 or 6 of us are planning to
So
come
he's
up.
trying to get some guys together for games Saturday, so we'll be visiting you then.
What time are we looking at?
This Saturday, I'm trying to get a game of Caverna. I'm going to teach and play Caverna starting at noon. And then I know Chester's coming up with a couple of new Kickstarter games that he just picked up at 3. So I'm hoping we can finish up Caverna in about 3 hours. And then when Chester gets there, he's planning to be there for several hours. And then, like I say, he's planning to get there around 3. And so, we'll be doing that.
Awesome. Caverna is in our library, so if you want to use our copy, you're welcome to.
Okay, I know I got mine with the.
You got the broken token for yours?
And all sorted, so I might bring mine just for the ease of that. Sure. But either way, it's good to know that you have it in case I forget it. So. Cool.
Hey, and maybe we could play a game of Pass Tally without Carlos.
Oh, that'd be cool.
We're talking about this Saturday. I've done a lot of work this week, so I'm trying to get there this Saturday to visit.
If he swings by in the evening, maybe we'll save it for him, but we'll see.
All right, well, Michael, great to hear from you. Glad to see Armada's open. I'm hearing from places all over the country.
Yep.
Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana.
Start to open up.
The game stores are starting to open up, and you're right there with them. We're excited to get back into your shop, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks for calling in.
Yep, and I'll try to call earlier next time.
No
you're
worries,
good.
bro.
You're good.
Closing the show out like this is beautiful.
Awesome.
I think it was like 6 phone calls today, man. Thank you for calling, Michael.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
See you guys.
Bye.
All right, folks. That takes us to the end of our evening.
A little over an hour and 15 tonight.
And it flew.
It did. It was,
Oh, man, it
when
flew.
people call in, it makes it so much easier. So we appreciate the participation. Keep calling in.
We appreciate all of you in the comment trails. I know Diego was in there. Wayne's in the comment trails talking about how much he loves Dune the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I called it horrible, and he
You said it was
called me out
horrible.
on
I
it.
don't know if it was horrible, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I'll have to watch it again.
So Wayne and I will agree it's not too horrible to steal a line from the D6 generation.
Okay.
Not too
horrible.
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 But we will be back next week. My hope is that with this weekend, you'll have games to talk about that you played.
For sure.
I want to do an unboxing of After the...
Empire?
Oh, it's so heavy. After the Empire. Thank you to Mitchell, Louisiana, for
Thanks
sending
again.
this to us.
It's awesome.
I don't even know what to say. Like I'm out of words. I don't know what to say about you sending a board game. That's so damn cool.
Yeah.
I will be. God, we got so much more to talk about. We got a game day coming up June 12th. If you're in the Tampa area, we'll be at Armada Games. For those of you that are Blood Bowl enthusiasts, June 12th, I'll be at Your Turn in a Blood Bowl tournament. Check out the Florida Blood Bowl group on Facebook for more information on that tournament. I think we're still taking registrations this week for this weekend, and we will catch you next week to talk about more games, about what you've been playing, and from seriously super appreciate. Like, I pound my fist on the
Don't
table.
break the table, man.
Thank you for calling in, for asking
It's
questions.
awesome. We appreciate it.
On the chat room up here, and we will catch you guys next week. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
We are the Beans and Ice podcast about
how we game.
Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Have a good night,
Be
everybody.
safe. We will see you soon.
See you next time.
Bye, everybody.